Dear friends, as we observe the struggles and confusion many of you are experiencing at this time, we wish you to know that everything happening is a necessary part of man's ongoing ascension process. These things are serving to wake people up. It is impossible to fully understand or figure out solutions with the human mind, for much of what is going on is simply not what it seems. Instead, utilize these times to rest more fully and trust, allowing intuition to be your guide. On the surface, everything seems to be bubbling with chaos. Think of this chaos as a cleansing process, exposing buried and long-hidden dirt, and which in time will reveal that which has always been there but has been unseen, a clean and harmonious reality reflecting truth and oneness. The world in general is experiencing whatever intense and deep cleansings are necessary in order that new and higher levels of awareness may be experienced. Many find themselves increasingly in a state of sadness and depression regarding today's outer conditions, but do not for a second believe that the chaos you see has any sort of law to support it or make it permanent. Chaos is the outer manifestation of the energy of duality and separation, which will increasingly dissipate as more light enters world consciousness. That element that supports the chaos and confusion is making a last impressive stand to stay in power, because it can sense, not always consciously, that the world they support is changing, and along with it, their perceived personal power. People are rapidly waking up and realizing their own power, regardless of how hard certain elements of society may try to keep them under a thumb of fear and powerlessness. As more and more of the world awakens, the outer picture cannot help but reflect that. Every individual who lives out from a consciousness of truth, no matter how simple their everyday life, is helping to create a new and higher dimensional world consciousness. Try not to be discouraged when you observe at the same time those working very hard to hold on to and continue that which is old and finished. There is a divine law that forever holds truth in place, and no laws to support illusion. Creation is finished, perfect, and whole, but because humans are in reality expressions of source energy, they form the world through the creative energy of consciousness. The majority of individuals are as of yet unaware of the innate power they hold within, instead choosing to see themselves as human beings who must await, petition, and blame some imagined God up there to save them. You did not know that you were the gods meant to do the saving, but you know it now. Be patient with the process, and don't expect it to manifest in its fullness immediately, for the energy of many deeply entrenched beliefs take time to surface, be recognized for what they are, and released. Evolution does not happen in a minute, but is well on its way at this time. It is important to make a practice of observing and acknowledging the light of everything in your lives, feeling gratitude no matter how seemingly small or insignificant something may seem, the song of a bird, a beautiful flower or tree, a friend's smile, a baby's laugh, everyday things usually taken for granted. Begin to express gratitude even for the things you would rather not have in your life, remembering that every experience holds a lesson if you are open to receiving it. Gratitude acknowledges, I am because I am. We wish to speak of oneness, for the understanding and acceptance of oneness as truth is the key that opens the door to ascension. There is only one divine consciousness expressing itself in infinite form and variety. Can there ever be a person or living thing apart from one? What would it be made of? Every problem human beings have ever had throughout the ages has reflected a sense of separation, manifesting as disagreement, hatred, and discords on all levels between people, countries, businesses, families, friends, and animals. Permanent peace can never and will never manifest from the energy of duality and separation, because real peace is not in alignment with the energy of duality and separation. Oneness may still represent a spiritual leap for some of you, but you are ready. Anyone reading these messages is ready. You made the decision to incarnate and experience the powerful energies of evolution that are taking place right now. You chose to clear, awaken, and then help others awaken, and because of this choice you are now experiencing the very things that can lead you into your deepest awakenings. Many belief systems continue to perpetuate beliefs of duality and separation through rigid dogmas and teachings that reflect earlier and less evolved times. Examine your personal concepts of God. Do you believe God to be a man hanging on a cross, sitting quietly under a bodhi tree, or maybe even a woman? Do you still see him as a man with a long beard sitting high in the clouds, enforcing human values of good and evil, punishment and reward? Concepts of God act to block understanding, and the experiences of reality for that part of your consciousness is already filled with concepts. God can never be understood with the human mind, no matter how many classes, meditations, or books an individual has accumulated. The human mind is limited to what is already known, what is already floating about in consensus consciousness. True spiritual understanding, as well as inventions, ideas, solutions, art, music, etc., can only be fresh and new when they flow from the infinite well within. When there is receptivity, heretofore unknown solutions, ideas, and truths seem to bubble up into conscious awareness when least expected. This is how it works. Those who shout to the world that they know all about God and what God is, speak from their own personal and limited concepts. Those who have experienced God, do not brag about it but hold these sacred experiences safe and protected in the heart. God Source Universe just is, period. That is all the human mind can or needs to know. What it is, must be experienced, and because it is the very essence of every individual's being, this will happen at their point of readiness, which may be several lifetimes down the road. Let go of trying to know and understand an infinite God with a finite intellect. It cannot be done. Trust that there is a something and only one of it, whatever it is. Accepting oneness is the first step toward living unconditional love, for how can there be animosity and hatred when there is no other? The world in general as of yet does not know this and is still creating from energies of duality and separation. Never deny the discords you see, but learn to look through them, knowing that in spite of how horrific an appearance may be, there is no law to support it, that no one ever really dies, and that you are witnessing an illusory expression of dense and false energy. This does not mean you stand back and just watch a situation where you could offer help, it means you silently acknowledge truth while doing it. Oneness eliminates us versus them from consciousness. Do not try to humanly love the perpetrators of heinous actions, or the irritating neighbor, but love them spiritually by recognizing the terrorist, the road rage person, the animal abuser, the suicide bomber to be spiritual beings who are as of yet very unaware of who and what they are. Instead of judgment, send them light and a recognition of their true selfhood. This does not mean they should be allowed to continue with their nefarious activities. Perpetrators of horrendous acts see the world through skewed beliefs based in duality and separation, and until they are consciously ready to open to more, they will continue to act out. War and violent solutions only align the energy with its counterpart, the same energy. The world still has need of prisons and law enforcement, but fear and desire for power has caused many of these services to deteriorate and function at a lower resonating energy. Light energy is bringing many into a sense of personal power, but everyone is interpreting the experience according to their level of understanding. Some are beginning to have more confidence and less fear, while others have become bullies. This is the energy behind the plethora of conflicts between law enforcement and the public. New energies are bringing to the surface deeply buried fear, anger, and resentment for all parties, resulting in us versus them reactive actions. It is all about the old order rising to be recognized for what it is. These events are revealing that old energy is no longer in alignment with the majority of an awakening society. Because many old and previously accepted ways of doing things are often deeply ingrained in society, it may take the shock of certain events to bring about change. As more light flows to the group consciousness of those doing this type of work, whether of law enforcement or military, it begins to filter into individual consciousness, and from there comes an inner nudge to work differently from what has been done in the past, and where respect for and from the public as well as for and from the police is the norm. All work is light work if done from a consciousness of love and respect. Many facets of the world as you know it today will seem not to change, but as world consciousness steadily evolves, the outer forms must evolve as well. Employment, entertainment, medical, food, etc. will be of new and more enlightened levels of awareness. You are witnessing its beginnings now as people become aware of and are demanding cleaner food, natural medicines, and in general, change. These powerful energies of change are being felt by businesses, service industries, governing bodies, corporations, etc., prompting them to start thinking about and making changes without the heavy resistance that would have taken place a few years ago. Many in the world are already performing their work from the higher levels we speak of. They came into this lifetime having already attained a state of consciousness that was supportive of unconditional love, and thus their intention has always been to serve from the highest level. Some of these dear ones have even sacrificed their own lives for the purpose of awakening others to the need for change within certain systems. Your work and your mission is to bring light to wherever your daily activities take you. This is why you chose to be here at this energy-intense time. You brought an already evolved state of consciousness into a world ready to evolve. There are many, especially children, who have no karma to resolve, but have simply chosen to come and add their light to world consciousness. You who are awake are the head of an energetic arrow, so to speak, and because of this may often find yourselves catching the heat. In many ways you are bucking the system and making it uncomfortable for those who like the system just the way it is. Do not despair or believe that the situation is hopeless, for evolution is inevitable. Reality is, period. It may be taking what seems to be a long time, but the underlying and never-changing reality is that in spite of any appearances to the contrary, this remains a spiritual universe peopled by expressions of God. We are the Arcturian group,